Hello, my name is Ebony Koger. I'm from Mesa Community College here in Mesa, Arizona. And today I'll be reading my report on Jainism. I did a personal talk with a Jain from the temple named Dr. Correct Gasalia. Okay, so the religion I chose to study was an ancient Indian religion called Jainism. This religion is considered to be an eternal religion, which it means it has always been and will always remain. The belief is the religion is billions and trillions of years old and it was not created by anyone. However, its teachings and principles were spread and taught by the 24th Lord Mahadev. Jains believe that no one is created or destroyed, but are constantly reincarnated in four physical realms: heaven, human, hell, animal, or plant. It all depends on one's activity as a human. Jains believe that the universe is constantly changing and the number of humans remain constant. The soul is an eternal physical substance that will journey through each realm until it is liberated from its debts or credits, which is known as karma. Dr. Gasalia explained that if you've done everything good in this current life, and that one can gain access to heaven. But if one kills and steals, for example, they will go to hell until they have paid their debt. In addition, if you were good with some bad, one can be reincarnated either as an animal or plant. Dr. Gasalia referred to the four realms as the realms of suffering. Once an individual is enlightened or come to realization and find out the true nature of their soul and who they are, the individual is finally freed from the realms of suffering. There are three main principles in Jainism, which is nonviolence, non-possessiveness, and multiplicity of perspective. The first principle of nonviolence that a Jain doesn't act, speak, or think violence towards themselves or others. Dr. Gasalia states that the mind is a dirty place and it will have all kinds of negativity that will control you. The key is to let your soul take over. He stated that in order to overcome the mind, the soul will have to elevate its thoughts and have different values. He gave the example of a child having a toy, and as the child grow up, they will no longer desire to play with that toy. As with maturity and understanding ourselves, we can outgrow our stinky thinking. The second principle is non-possessiveness, which is having a simple lifestyle and only having what an individual needs, such as food, water, and shelter. There is no need to have a lot of possessions. Dr. Gasalia stated that in India there are naked monks, religious specialists who have come to reason that their body is their clothing, and that's all they need. They don't live in mainstream society and will only come to get the bare minimum to survive. The body isn't looked at in a sexual way, but as pure and holy. Lastly is multiplicity of perspective, which refers to that everyone has their own views and have a right to see things the way they choose. No one is to push their beliefs onto another individual, and that is to be respected. Everyone has a right to their own opinion, and Jains do not attempt to change that. Dr. Gasalia gave this example. Someone may think you are crazy, which is their view and theirs to own. It doesn't make it correct only to them. He states once we learn to respect different perspectives, we will be able to live, and learn in harmony with others. Another example he gave was on political view. If you are a Democratic or a Republican, it doesn't matter either way to a Jain because that is something personal for the individual. When it comes to Jainism, there are two religious specialists: householders and laypersons. There are monks who follow a hierarchy but due to the fact monks don't travel by air or automobile, it is the responsibility of Jains to spread the teachings. In the house, they have people referred to lays persons. Lays persons are the teacher and what we may consider as priests. They're the ones who take turns teaching and ensuring rituals are performed correctly. Jains follow a moon calendar, which is different than what we follow for their ceremonies and rituals. A few examples of their rituals are fasting, meditation, and atonement. Depending on the ritual, Jains will fast for any amount of given days. They will not eat after dark due to artificial light attracts insects. During fasting, one can enter an altered state of consciousness. Altered state of consciousness is also experienced during meditation. Jains attempt to escape worldly affairs by chanting, rosary counting, and reciting prayers to different lords. Atonement is another ritual where Jains enter an altered state of consciousness. Jains twice a day ask for forgiveness for their offenses to themselves and others. This will be done for 45 days, then again after 15 days, and then it goes to once every 4 months. Dr. Gasalia explained that Jainism get receive a lot of negativity because of it's considered very ritualistic. I apologize, and strict. However, he states there are reasons for rituals and practices, and many now are starting to be proven with modern day science. I explained to Dr. Gasalia that many may get a misconception from the many statues in the temple and may interpret Jains as idol worshippers. Dr. Gasalia stated that the idols are only pieces of marble and mean absolutely nothing. It is simply there as a reminder of the 24 lords that have received enlightenment throughout time. A fun fact was that there are actual naked monks that walked around India completely nude. There are monks. I apologize. I'm in the office using their spare room. I do apologize for that. They're laughing inside, so I know you can hear them. But back to what I was saying. There are monks who wear simple white clothing, but there are also those who are without any shame of themselves and from others about their bodies. Dr. Gasalia states that there are temples there with statues of lords that are anatomically correct with penises shown. I found that to be, I thought that was very funny. Also, Jains don't eat any vegetables with roots like carrots, garlic, potatoes, and such due to the belief that it's a living soul. Therefore, Jains are vegetarians. I attended a Sunday service at the Jain Center of Greater Phoenix on the south side of Phoenix, Arizona. The ritual I attended was calendrical, which is performed every Sunday. There are no leather shoes allowed in the temple, so my toddler and I removed our shoes at the door. There were approximately 30 people participating in the morning ritual. There was no indication of a specific leader because all Jains are equal. Most of the participants sat on the floor, but there were chairs available. There were very young babies, toddlers, men, women, young and old, participating in the services. People walked in and rang a huge bell, which informed which informed to me by the temple secretary, Himal Madhi, is to clear the mind of any toxic thoughts before service. The participants then went around to each statue to give reverence to the ascending Lord. Most of the women sat on paper like mats with elongated coffee table with prayer and hymnal books. The women recited the prayers in song. There was a small group of older people in the back of the temple bowing and praying facing south. The temple was filled with a familiar smell of chatting, or what we know as sandalwood. After a while, men and young boys dressed in traditional orange and white garments came and started washing the statues. Dr. Gacelia explained to me that the statues are washed every day, 365 days a year. The men have to purify themselves before even touching the statues. They shower, put on clean garments, and must clear their minds before anointing the statues. The Jain temple is beautiful. The temple has double gold plated doors. Inside, the temple has huge monuments of Lord Mahadev, who is the 24th Lord, and Lord Rishiva, who was the first Lord. They are the ones who successfully freed themselves from a cycle of suffering. The monuments are made of pure marble, along with other smaller monuments of lords throughout the times. On the altar, there was a bull and lion representing Lord Rishiva and Lord Mahadev. I saw other deities like Saraswati and Lakshmi in the hallways of the temple. There's a tall monument sitting in the middle of the courtyard with other deities. I also saw an elephant on the porch of the temple. Next, the people separated to go to their classes for an hour. I was to attend the class on karma, but unfortunately lost track of time, exploring the temple, taking pictures, and recording my experience there. Then we gathered back into the sanctuary for what's called puja. Puja, as explained to me, was the regular service, which included visitors' welcome, community announcements, and song. The Jains sang, and I happily clapped along because I was able to pick up on the rhythm quickly. The Jains offered water for their sins to be washed away, sandalwood to cool their temples, and rice to symbolically remove darkness from their souls. The Jains have lay persons in the organization, which are, like I said, the teachers. The religious specialists are monks. In the old times, according to the family, monks were raised as early as 8 years old. Now they consider their maturity level. The initial training starts out by them being secluded from outsiders and trained for 45 days in prayer, meditation, and teachings. I didn't get to see any altered state of consciousness, just a few curious people with questions about myself and child. Last but not least was my favorite part, the food. Okay, the food was absolutely delicious. We had a feast in the eating hall of khichdi, pickle lemon, rice wafers, green squash, and my favorite cuddy, which is a warm yogurt soup. I suggest that you try them. They're very delicious. We talked and laughed, especially when they asked if I liked the food, and I happily responded, "I love food." My son, like the other children, ate all the rice wafers. My conclusion of Jainism is very much of my own. Is very like my own religions and other religions I have visited. Their motto is "Live and let live," which in my family is a belief that everyone has a right to, as we say, do your own thing. I found nothing strange or uncommon. The rituals were similar to that of my own upbringing and of other religious organizations that I have attended. Everyone is just trying to connect with a higher power and find their purpose in life. Fasting, meditating, singing, prayer, teaching, religious symbols appears to be all the same in my eyes, just done in a different way. Thank you for joining me on my report on Jainism. I look forward to hearing my peer reviews, and you have a wonderful day.